Hello, Andre. How are you?
Hello, Sean. Nice to meet you. I'm here with
Likewise.
from the band Eden from Melbourne, Australia. So you're the first on my show from down under, and I'm very curious to find out more about your band and your location. So Sean,
Sure.
tell me, Eden, how long do you exist already?
From memory, I believe we formed in 1988, which is a little while ago. And our first record label was Night Shift Records UK, who were in Scotland and run by Brian Guthrie, Robin Guthrie's brother from the Cocteau Twins. And Will Heggie, of course, was also working or running Night Shift Records. He'd been in the Cocteau Twins for Garlands and Head Over Heels and the two EPs in between, and had left the Cocteau Twins and formed a wonderful band called Lowlife, who were a Scottish band. So we were label mates with them for our first release. And that was an exciting time, going over to the UK and doing promo with the English newspapers in London. And, of course, getting to know some of those characters associated with the Cocteau Twins, whose music we've all loved, you know. So, and at the same time, I think, yes, when I was over there in London, Dead Can Dance were finishing Aeon, and I've known them since I was very young, and I went and visited them while they were finishing that album, which that was a fun trip. That's in my memory. And then next label we were on after them was another English label called Third Mind, who were in the East End in London, and we released our first album, Gateway to the Mysteries, with them. And our other label mates then, I guess, were bands like Frontline Assembly, In the Nursery, and Heavenly Bodies, who've probably been forgotten now, but they were a very good band. And then
You have been active all those years, or?
No. Eden was active, I'd say, 1988 till 1998, and then took a break until a little over 2 years ago. And we reformed largely to go and play WGT because they'd been inviting us. They messaged me and asked would we like to play after we played a reunion show, and I thought it was somebody playing a joke on me. And I wasn't sure that it was true, and so it probably took about 2 years for us to put the band back together properly, and then go over and play WGT in 2017. But when I realised we were going to WGT, we decided it's about time we wrote and recorded a new album, because we hadn't released anything since 1997. So that's how the new album, The Edge of Winter, came to be, which is very, very Eden. I think it has all the classic Eden things and a few new things on it. It's my favourite album out of all the albums and EPs that we made. We're working on a new album at the moment. Yeah.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Will it be similar to The Edge of Winter?
It would be more atmospheric, more droning, possibly more cold wave, but not in the usual way. I'd say just in the fact that there'll be a lot of electronic percussion. We'll resurrect the vintage Cines and Pearlson cushions, and maybe Simmons claptrap and all those sorts of things. On The Edge of Winter, all the keyboards were vintage, early 80s Oberheims, ARP, and various other things, as were a lot of the digital effects. We used the AMS, which Joy Division had used, and Lexicon 480 and 244. You can probably see a couple of my guitars in the background, the Burns London guitars that I currently play, which I guess a guitar of a special pedigree that goes back to the 60s. I mainly play electric 12-string, as does the other guitarist in the band, Anthony. We have two 12-string players.
I would like to ask you about Australia. I've never been there.
Sure.
And how is it with that kind of music you do?
I think we used to have a much stronger scene here in the 90s. There is a scene now, and I'm just starting to reconnect with it. I think the world has, well, you would know as well as I, the world has changed a lot since we all started to love this sort of music, and in my case, play in this area of music. I think it's become a Gucci world. Melbourne. Melbourne. This is Melbourne, my room. Whereas I'm looking at you and there's this wonderful European rooftop spectacular there, you know. I'd like to swap Melbourne for your place. Can we arrange that? Melbourne's a big city now. It's grown enormously in population. But I don't really live here all that much. I live in a remote area out in the countryside. I'm sometimes in the city. I'm in the city tonight, then I'm in a remote country area that's full of kangaroos. And I look out the window in the morning and there's kangaroos. Out of the 5 million people who live in Melbourne, none of them, or hardly any of them, ever see a kangaroo. Whereas if you live in the remote areas like I do when I'm not here, you're surrounded by them, which is wonderful. So if you came and visited, I'd be taking you to our home, my wife Saskia and daughter Holly. I'd bring you out to our 150-year-old Cornish cottage in the country, and you can come and play with the kangaroos, which you can't touch because they'll kill you. But they're beautiful to look at.
Yeah. I saw some videos. They're quite dangerous.
They are, but they're not nothing to worry about. They're beautiful creatures. You can't pat them though.
Sean, what are your musical influences?
Life, poetry, probably mostly the 19th century. I think reading. I've been reading again in the last 2 years. I read a lot of different things, but these things just create the atmospheric backdrop really in the work. The work is really about existence and, I guess, trying to understand your lot. I've always seen songs to a degree to be a bit like a diary, not literally, but the themes in the songs are about whatever's going on in life at the time when they're written. But funnily enough, when I look at songs that were written quite a long time ago, they still seem to ring true, a lot of them. I think that just points to the fact that music is timeless, which is something I honestly believe. I remember when I was a teenager, I even then sort of felt that when I started to write music, that it didn't matter if it was 2 or 2,000 people who, you know, it's so long as you had added something to a couple of people's lives in writing or creating something, it's worth it. I still, at this age, feel that way, yeah.
But, Sean, is there one song or one band that you would say it's my all-time favorite?
You know, I've loved so many songs and so many albums. It's impossible to answer that question. I'm going back to some of the records of my youth. I'm listening to early Cure. When Cure don't need any more kudos because they've definitely established their place in the world and in history. I like a lot of the new cold wave bands. I really only began to discover them just before we went to Germany. They're mostly German, I guess, or Italian sort of cold wave bands that I've been listening to. I like your Rose Garden and your Vampire song. I thought they're really special. So. They're very atmospheric, yeah, and it's a well recorded album. Your album. So.
Are you planning any European tours?
Look, I think we'll come over either the next time we play at WGT or to promote a future release. And I think next time we would ideally like to play in Germany and Poland, maybe Czech Republic. I'm looking forward to our continuing writing and recording this year, and Eden has a side project now called Eden Revenant, which is myself and Anthony. And what we're doing there is we're delving deeper into the Eden catalogue and playing a lot of the really early material and some of the current material off the Edge of Winter and the brand new material that we're writing now. So it's Eden past, present and future when we're performing as Eden Revenant.
Good, Sean. Thank you very much for this talk. It was very elaborate. I hope that we meet once live.
Definitely.
When you come to Europe. Yeah.
Definitely. We'll stay in touch and we'll work on that.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you for having me on your wonderful show, and I'll look forward to seeing this and your other future episodes. The episodes you've had are great, and some of the bands I like you've actually had on your show. So I was pleased to see that. Eden or the emerging Eden Revenant project will be in good hands on your show and in your blog. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye, Sean.
Bye.